Hello everyone, welcome back to the episode of the Creators Connect series. My name is Luca, but you can call me that camera guy. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your love and support. I truly appreciate it. And if you are new here, please do consider I've done this intro like 50 times, bro. Come on. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your love and support. I truly appreciate it. And if you are new here, please do consider subscribing if you like this video. And today's episode of the show, we're joined by someone from all the way in Hawaii. Can you believe that? And her name is Gaby. She is a photography enthusiast. She's a blogger, but she's also very, very passionate about the integrity of tourism, which we actually talk about in the video. So we also talk about all the places that she's gone that have had the biggest impact on her as a tourism student, as an artist, and personally, just the kind of emotion that that place invoked. And we also talk about the places that she dreams to go to as a creator, as a tourist, and the kind of emotion that that place is going to invoke in her. So just sit back, relax as we connect with Gaby. Thank you so much, Gaby, for being here.
Of
really
course.
do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to sit down and chat with me about, creative things and whatnot. I literally have been following you on Instagram for less than a week.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's been like over the weekend, but I think that's the beauty about this thing that I do. It's if I see something I like and I really feel like there's something there, I just owe it to myself and I mean to the people who watch this show to just reach out to people
Yeah.
and see if they're willing to have a conversation. I'm super grateful to have you here.
Yeah.
I think my first question definitely is where you learned to take photos. I know you didn't study anything directly
Right.
related to photography
Yeah.
and things like that. So where did you learn it? Where did your passion for it come from? Because you're very good.
No, thank you.
Mm.
So I think I didn't actually learn to take photos anywhere. Like you said, I never took like a photography course or anything like that.
Mhm.
It was kind of just like an organic thing. My dad bought me a camera, like a little waterproof Fujifilm when I was in high school. And I would just go around like on different adventures with my friends, taking photos of them in nature and doing whatever. And I think I got really attached to having like a visual memory,
Mhm.
like a visual stamp of an actual moment that I had with my friends. And I could go back and look at the photos and like remember exactly how I felt and like exactly
Mhm.
what was said and what was happening and all that. And I think I just got so attached to having like an actual tangible memory that it just kind of grew from there. And I
Yeah.
ended up investing in a real camera and just still continued to shoot with my friends. And it just kind of took on a life of its own. And now it's like my main thing. It's like my main passion.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you say about having a tangible memory to sort of
Yeah.
like take with you into the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually reflecting on that just last week, the beauty of photography,
Yeah.
the ability of it to sort of like pause a moment in time and just like take it with you into the future
Yeah.
and be able to look back, not just remember the time, but also visually experience it through photo and be like,
Yeah. And if
it's
you
so
like,
much more.
it's good for like emotion. Like you can go back and like remember how happy you felt or how sad you felt or whatever.
Mhm.
Like I feel like, yeah, it's kind of therapeutic in a way. You can like go back and remember how you felt like compared to where you are now. Like it's almost
Mhm.
like it's like therapy in a way. It's
It
like
is.
tracking your emotions.
It is. I think photography definitely is a different kind of therapy.
Yeah.
The freedom it exudes, the freedom it brings, not just in the
Mhm.
creativity, but in the ability to just like see or imagine something and just do it. It's not restrictive, and I
Yeah.
love that about it.
Yeah,
And
it's very expressive.
yeah, you talk about the memories that photography brings and the memories you get to look back to. do you have any memories stored up in video? So I think my question is there any kind of video thing you're into as well in terms of making memories, or it's just strictly photo?
No, I love video. I'm just not so great at it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, I'll take videos with my phone all the time. And I actually recently have been trying to get more into like videoing with my actual camera, even though it's not a great video camera. But it's just what has been kind of holding me back is the whole editing that comes with video, and that's like a whole nother thing to learn. Yeah, and I like Photoshop and Lightroom is already taking up my like mental space with learning everything. Yeah, that's so funny. I want to get into it eventually, and I do think it's a great way to even further like express really whatever you want. And definitely that's the next step that I'll be working on that in the future. But for now, photos is my main thing.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to you. It's not easy. It's very taxing to jump into. I remember breaking into video. It's something I wanted to do, but I was like, my mind just could not start to begin to process the amount of work that had to go into learning. But I think once you finally get the hang of it, even like Lightroom and Photoshop can be like very taxing at the beginning. But once you get a hang of it, with a lot of practice and things like that, it gets so much easier. So I do applaud you and encourage you to look into it and dive into it, but slowly. And I'm excited to see if you do decide to release that kind of content into the world. I'm excited to see it for sure.
Yeah. I'll definitely be doing it in the future for sure.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I definitely do. But speaking about memories and making memories, I mean, the story or the source of some of the best memories is the places we get to make those memories in. And it's very obvious from your content, from your blog as well, that you've traveled and you like to travel.
Yes, I do.
The concepts and aspect of tourism is something that you're very passionate about. And I love that. But I think my question is more directed to where your next adventure is going to take you. Where do you want to go? Where do you dream of going, and why?
I've been thinking about this so much because I've been stuck where I haven't been able to go anywhere, even though I'm in Kauai, which is like a beautiful
I'm jealous. I'm just gonna put it out there that, wow, it's one of the places I want to visit, so I envy you a little bit about that.
It's so beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky, and it's not like, I have like so many things to do, and I'm very blessed, but I have not been traveling like I would like to be, so I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think I really want to go to Jordan, like the Middle East, because I just feel like it's such a different culture, and it's like the landscape is so different. I really want to see Petra. And like the food, I've just heard great things. And I do think it's somewhere that tourism hasn't fully boomed yet. Like it's slowly growing. So I'd like to see it maybe before it gets, completely oversaturated and like shifts into like the fake culture versus the authentic culture. And Greece. I really want to go to Greece. Oof, it just looks so pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Why Greece though? It's just because it looks pretty.
I think it is just because it looks pretty. I mean, I love Greek food. So I'd love to go and have, real authentic Greek food.
Yeah.
But really, I think what draws me there is just the way it looks. Like nowhere else in the world looks like that. It's so unique.
It is true. It is very unique. So looking forward and where you want to go, you sort of said Greece, Jordan.
Yeah.
But looking back at where you've been, which are the places that you've visited that have had the most impact on you, and why? This could be creatively or just on a personal level.
Yeah. So, that's a good question. I think like on a personal level, in terms of personal growth, the place that sort of like caused me to like really reflect on myself was Kenya.
Yeah.
Which is also because of the culture shock. So the majority of the places I've been are within Latin America. And that's, my family is from Latin America. So when I go there, the culture shock isn't as extreme. And I'm not as like out of my comfort zone as I was in Kenya. And it was just so like beautiful, and their culture was still so present. And I just really liked their way of life and how important like community was to them. Because it's really not like that anymore where I'm from. Like people have communities, but I don't think we rely on them as much as we should. And in Kenya, it's all about the communities, and I've never seen like such an integrated group of people. And it really like warmed my heart, and they were so kind and like loving and happy, and they really like in the place where I was, there was nothing to do. Like there's nothing nice there. It's just the desert, you know, but they're still like such a vibrant,
they're content.
Happy. Yeah, they're content, and they're working, you know, as a community towards a bigger goal. And I really appreciated the connection that I found there.
Yeah, I ended up stumbling onto your blog, and that was the first one I read. It was so heartfelt. It felt like you wanted to say so much more.
Yeah, there's so much I could say about Kenya.
Yeah, but it was really amazing. Reading about that experience and having that kind of perspective shown into my mind, and it really did give me a lot to think about, not just about tourism and traveling, but about the culture and about the place. And so I'm really not shocked after having read that that's the place that had the most impact on me, which is super cool.
Yeah, it was very special.
Yeah, but you obviously you have a blog, and you have an Instagram page, and you take photos and you write a lot, which is super cool. But is there anything that you would want to do more with your creativity, other than just posting photos, writing a lot? Is there anything else that you're itching to do creatively?
Yeah, I mean, so I tell this to everyone that I talk to about this sort of thing, and it's always, if I could choose to be really good at one thing, it would be painting, because I think it's so calming and relaxing, and like I think it's a good use of time, but I'm really bad at it. And I'll do it anyway. I'm not good at all.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. So I'll do it, and it's like super meditative and a great relaxing. And I think it like inspires more creativity in my other like modes of expression, which is photography. But I'm just really bad at it. So I'll like do it, and then it looks bad, and I'm like, well, now I just wasted all my paint and my canvas because I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, if I could be good at that, I would love to do more.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I feel like you're selling yourself short. I would love to see some art pieces in there.
I'll show you. There's one that's actually not bad, but the rest are pretty crappy.
I wouldn't mind seeing one of them and then like really analyzing them.
Okay. I'll say
like I'm not a good painter or anything, but I definitely just like to see it.
Yeah.
I just appreciate what it is that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people I tell that to, they're like, oh, art is, what's the word? Like, just because you think it's bad doesn't mean it's actually bad. And
yeah.
Like, there's no such thing as good art, blah, 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 blah. But, I just am not satisfied with the way it looks to my eye.
Are there any people you've showed your artwork and have actually said, oh, this
I
is
mean, sometimes my brothers say my stuff is okay.
And that's more than enough, right? And other times they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no one who's as honest as family. And if your brothers sometimes say that it's good, then I'm going to take your word for it for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so how long have you been doing what you're doing in terms of, taking photos and blogging? How long have you been doing that kind of stuff?
So I got my real camera 3 years ago. So I've been taking photos for real for 3 years. The blog I started when I made my website, so that's maybe been like a year or so.
Okay.
So not super long.
That's fairly new, eh?
Yeah, I know. And even after I got my camera, it took me like 2 years to actually invest in Lightroom and Photoshop, because I was like, no, I can do it without it. And then
it's not the same without it.
It's
really
not.
the same
Honestly, I'm
without
so
it.
glad I have it now. It really takes things to the next level.
I was in that space, and without it, you feel like you're doing well. You feel like you're really doing good. Like you have these compromise applications, but you look at other people's work and you're like, wow, why can't I do this with the app?
I know.
When you finally get Lightroom, and then you're like,
realize,
oh wow, this is what I was missing out on, and it's really, really not the same. So,
it's a great program.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, which camera do you have? Which camera do you use?
So right now I have a Nikon D3400.
Okay.
Which is, super basic. And then I also have a Canon EOS 7D, which is my dad's camera, and he gave it to me when I left home to come here. But I'm in the market for a new one. Both of them are old, and I'm definitely looking for a new camera.
So I'm going to go a little bit off my main question here and get a little bit technical. You've used a Fujifilm before. Of course, it wasn't a high end, but you used Fujifilm.
Yeah.
You've got Canon and you've got a Nikon as well. Yeah. Which ones of the three do you think are your favorites?
So I really like my Nikon because it's just the easiest to use. Like it's simple. But I don't know if it probably is just because it's like a basic camera. Like it doesn't have all the super technical stuff that the Canon has, which is why I think I like the Canon less, because it's confusing and harder to work. So I like the Nikon just because it's simple and easy, and I don't have to like worry about it. But in terms of, I think, taking good photos, I think like the Canon is maybe a little better.
Wow, really? That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So now that you've used these three and you sort of almost have a favorite, and you know the pros and cons of all the different ones, are you gonna try and buy a Sony now? See how that works?
You know what? So I have some friends and they both have Sonys, and they were like telling me, you need to buy the Sony, and I was shooting with one of their cameras, and I do actually really like it. So maybe I will, and then I'll have all the big ones and see which I like the best.
I really haven't been privy enough to use it, so I would love to use one. I'm a big Nikon fan. I use
really?
I'm really loyal to it. I would love to use. I've used a Canon before, and it didn't really suit me. But I'm so interested to use a Sony because of the hype that it entails, just world over. Everyone hypes it up so much. So I'm keen and interested to see.
And it is a nice, like, the colors in camera are really, really
very
great.
aesthetic. It produces really nice photos. So I'd be interested to use one and see how that goes. Hopefully, I don't stab Nikon in the back and completely.
That's okay. I mean, they're all good.
But I mean, you've been taking photos for 3 years, you said, and have had a blog for 1 year. What has been the toughest thing in that creative period, and what's been, the best thing in that creative period?
Yeah. So, I think the toughest thing for me has been just trying to find my own authentic voice.
Wow.
Yeah, because, we all have like different perspectives on the world, and that is going to affect our art, but it's like easy. Or it was hard for me to like walk the line of being inspired by someone versus like imitating them and trying to copy their work.
That's deep.
Yeah, so I've been, and I'm still trying to find my own style and stuff, but the hardest thing for me has just been trying to like differentiate copying someone else's photo between like just being inspired by it and then taking like that inspiration and putting it into my own work. So that's been tough, but I'm definitely figuring it out. And I think now my photos are coming from a more like organic place within myself. And I'm figuring it out. And then the editing style is also a big thing, like figuring out my editing, tones, colors, whatever.
Do you think that you have an editing style now, or it's something that you're still trying to tweak and find?
I think I'm still figuring it out. You can see on my Instagram page, I'm playing around with a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I've seen.
I haven't decided on something yet.
No, but I think the point on being inspired by someone and then just not being another imitation of that person is very, very crucial.
Yeah.
And it's easy to look up to someone, and appreciate their work and really fall in love with how they do their thing and get lost in that space and end up being just another them, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like that's what happened to a lot of people because we have so much access to everyone else's work,
exactly,
and we're consuming it all the time, and then it like I think it influences us more than we even realize.
And I think another thing is, like you're saying, there's just so much of this content in the world
right
now. The thing that's going to happen is that you don't become an imitation of just one person, but you become an imitation of so many different people.
Yeah.
So you see something you like in one person and you want to become that, and then you see something else you like in another person.
And you're flip-flopping, and then you can't decide your own style.
So you're not your own person, you're not your own creative. So it's very deep and it's very difficult. But how do you think as creatives we can navigate, that kind of space?
I mean, I think it's good to take to look at other people's work and you know take ideas for yourself. But I think the big thing for what at least that has helped me is kind of visualizing the stuff in my own head, like whatever photos I want to take, like visualizing the poses and the colors and the background and everything in my head before I go to Instagram or Pinterest or whatever to look for inspiration. Because then it's coming from me, like at the beginning, it's not coming from something else I saw and then I'm like adjusting it in my head. It's like originally coming from my brain, from my brainchild. And then it kind of evolves with other things I see. But that's been helpful for me. And then because all our different perspectives is what affects our art. And if you're creating something at first in your own head, then that's like entirely unique to you.
And that's very important. I like that approach. I know I'm very tempted before going on a shoot to always go to Pinterest first. Like I'm blank out of ideas, and the first thing I want to do is go to Pinterest and try and be inspired that way, which there's nothing necessarily wrong, but when it becomes a habit that I can't by myself think of an idea and imagine an idea again. Because then you get used to it. I think that becomes a thing that's not healthy, so it's up to us, I think, to be very careful how much we rely on other people's creative ideas.
I agree.
To inspire our art. And you mentioned the toughest things in this 3-year period. What's been the best thing that's come out of taking photos for the last 2 years and having a blog for the last year or so?
I mean, I think that it's great for me to express my emotions and whatever, because I have everything pent up, and then it's been a really, really great release of all these different things I'm feeling. And it's also, I think, really nice to be surrounded by everyone else's expression of how they feel or how they see the world. And I think it's a lot of beautiful things that people are putting out there. And as a part of that community, you're kind of surrounded by all these different expressions and forms of art by all these different people, and then you're just surrounded in all this beauty and all this artwork and all these different feelings and ways of coping and expressing those feelings. And it's a really great space to be in. There's a lot of beauty and a lot of sharing and creativity, and I really like being in that space versus a different one.
I do agree with you so much, especially the ability you have to sort of connect with people who are millions and millions of miles away.
That's awesome.
And exchange ideas and share your work and be able to receive feedback on how you can do better. Even the comments from people when they see a picture and it really hits them hard. The kind of comments and reaction you get from that is almost priceless. It's not something
definitely.
You can buy. It's not something you can buy. So that is pretty cool. Which actually sort of leads me to my next question. That comment is that why do you share what you share with the rest of the world? Why do you take pictures and upload them to YouTube, to Instagram? Why do you blog and post that stuff? And I know you said for yourself personally, it acts as a release, but what kind of impact are you hoping it has on the people you share it with?
So, I mean, I think we all have, our different experiences. And I feel like I've been very lucky to have a lot of unique experiences that not a lot of other people have had. And I think it's important, for all of us to share our experiences and share what we've learned in life. And then, people can take what we say and take it into their own life and, learn from it or apply it in wherever is necessary. And I think that's important for everyone to do. Really, I think we all, need to learn from each other and, talk to each other more and understand each other a little bit better. And this is my way of it, like expressing what I've learned so far in life.
Yeah, that is so deep. That is so deep. And do you feel like it is having that impact currently on people, like from the responses that you've been getting, or do you feel like you need to do more, or I don't know, doesn't my question make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think what I really need to do is kick it up a notch in terms of the blog, in terms of tourism, because I think the photo stuff is great, and I think a lot of people like see it and they're like, oh, that's pretty, I'll use that as inspiration for mine, or like, oh, that makes me feel, whatever, free, maybe, whatever, which is great. But I think the bigger impact that I can have on people is with tourism stuff. I went to college for tourism, so I have all this like knowledge that I'm not even using because tourism isn't even a thing right now. No one's going anywhere. So I'm just like sit here doing nothing. But I learned a lot about tourism, and I think it's great because tourism is such a growing business. But no one knows how to be, a good traveler, and no one knows the real impact they can have when they're traveling. So I think what I can do to like better help people and, make a bigger influence in that section of the world is to write more about how to be like a sustainable tourist. And because that's like information that not a lot of people have, because true. Even like, you go to college, you can learn all this stuff, be super educated, but no one knows anything about tourism. I wouldn't know anything about it if I didn't go to school for it. So I think that, and as tourism is growing after COVID, settles down, it's going to boom again. And it's really destructive to like cultures and environments and everything when people do it how they've been doing it. So I think if we can like shift and do it more sustainably, we can have like such a big impact on the world. But first, people need to learn how to do it. And I know like more than most people about that. So I think it would be good for me to continue to share that.
Yeah, and I mean, you do it to such great effect. Like I said, I've read your blog, and your insight and opinions and your view on the things that you say is very impactful. It definitely moved me.
Thank you.
So I would firstly encourage you to definitely continue and push that out. But I would also encourage people to definitely go and check it out because it's definitely worth a read.
Thanks.
But speaking about tourism, just outside your creativity, why did you choose to study tourism? Was it always a passion, and how did you end up studying tourism?
So it was really random. I came into university studying kinesiology, and then I took my first science class, and I was like, no,
this is not for me.
I was like, this is not for me.
That's
and I
crazy.
switched a couple of times, and then I settled on tourism. Even still, not really knowing anything about what even the major was, it just sounded fun. Like I was like, oh, tourism, I like to travel, so why not? And then I ended up learning like it's kind of a mix between a business degree and a like environmental sustainability degree, and then tourism as well. So I kind of just fell into it really on accident, and now it's like grown into this awesome thing that I'm super passionate about. Yeah, and if you were to just as quick as you can tell us the biggest lesson that you learned while studying tourism. You're saying it's something you went into and you didn't really know much, and then you went into it and you're like, wow, this is what tourism is really about. What would that lesson be? Probably that. Okay. It's hard to say it in just a sentence, but no, you can say it in 55 sentences if you want. Okay. Basically, tourism dollars are like the money countries are getting from tourism is huge, mainly in a lot of the developing countries around the world. That's like a huge source of their income. And people are traveling there, but they're giving money to like nationwide corporations, like American corporations, when they're traveling to, like, let's say I go to Colombia, but I stay at the Marriott. That, like, none of that tourism money is going to Colombia. It's going back to the U.S. because the Marriott is a U.S. company. And then I like take tours via Expedia or whatever. Like, it's, I think people travel to these different countries and then they purchase things from people who don't give money back to the community, and they need to instead purchase and give the money that they're spending to go travel to this place to the people who live in that place, instead of to big companies and organizations that are not even from the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is intense. I have never thought about it that way.
And it's not, it's, if anything, it would be cheaper. So it's not more expensive. It's just a little more research on the traveler's end. But it's like you're traveling, which is predominantly a selfish thing. You know, people often don't travel to, like, they don't travel if they don't want to. They travel because they want to, which is fine. So instead, you can travel because you want to and also be helping out the community. But what a lot of people do is travel because they want to and then just stay. And it ends there. They don't spend their money on something that would really impact the community.
Yeah, wow. This is why I'm saying people need to read the blog. This is the kind of stuff that people need to hear more of.
Yeah, because it's just it's something people don't think about. I think if people knew, then they would do it. It's just, you know, people don't think about that stuff. I wouldn't have thought about that stuff if I wasn't taught it.
And like you're saying, I think these travel agencies really remove the ability for us to do our own research. They sort of kind of do everything for us.
Yeah, they do everything for you.
So I think we're almost becoming very lazy. So we don't want to.
No, we definitely are.
And search for who really needs the money most.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really a simple, like, 20-minute Google search.
Exactly. You see what I mean? So it's that's pretty cool. And I definitely hope more of us can definitely adopt that kind of mentality. And be proactive with it, not just have it as information that we know. That'd be really cool. But I think we're drawing closer to the end of this conversation, which has actually felt too short, if I'm to be honest. But I do not want to take too much of your time, and I never like to take too much of people's time. It's just 2 questions that I have left.
Okay.
And it's about the pieces that you sell on your website. I realize there's some pieces that you sell, and firstly, why did you choose to sell? How did that idea come up, and how do you choose which of your artworks to sell?
Yes, so I chose to start selling some of the landscape stuff I had done because my family, like my tias and my mom and like people close to me, adults, they were like, I want to buy this picture.
Really?
I want to buy this picture. Yeah.
That's how that started.
Yeah, so that's how it started. And then I just made a store so it would be simpler. And then I decided which ones to put up there, really just based on, okay, I think this would look good on a wall. Like, people aren't going to buy a photo of someone else. Like, they're not going to buy a portrait of someone they don't know. People decorate their homes with landscapes.
That's right? A bit weird.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I chose. And then I think there's like a couple in there of like my hand or something. And that's just because I liked the emotion that it like gave off.
It brought. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I need people to ask me to buy. Only that I don't take a lot of landscapes. I take a lot of pictures of people. So it'd be weird if someone came to me and they're like, I want to buy some of your pieces. I'm like,
I know. You know, I mean, some people do that, but
really?
It is kind of weird. Yeah, people like will have random photos of people in their house, like super artistic, like hippie
pieces. Definitely. Yeah. I've seen that a lot as well.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I definitely wish you all the best with that. And I mean, your landscapes are really amazing.
Thank
my
you so
favorite.
much.
My favorite is definitely the aerial photo.
The drones.
I think you just took it.
Yeah, I did. I took it like last week.
Oh, it's the editing.
I know.
Lost for words.
Yeah, that one was cool.
How did you do that?
It was just a
I'm
drone,
curious.
and I was terrified. I'm really not good at flying a drone. And I was flying it, and I was so nervous because it was so high that my hands
It
were
was
shaking.
so high. It was very high.
So high. I had never flown it that high until that photo.
How high did you go? Do you remember?
I don't even know. I mean, it was like high enough to the point where I couldn't see it anymore, and then I was freaking out because I was like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna get it back down if I can't see it?" But it worked. I didn't lose it, so that's good.
Hectic. You didn't get any error messages on the remote.
No, I was dying on me, so I brought it down really quickly.
Yeah, I don't know about taking it that high, especially where I stay, because
it freaks me out.
There's eagles, right? And I've seen videos on the internet of eagles attacking drones.
Oh, really?
It's not pretty.
Oh no, that would
not
suck.
cool. It's not.
That'd be so heartbreaking.
It's not cool. So
yeah,
it'll take a lot for me to get used to taking it so high that I can't see it. Yeah, that would be a while, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Gaby, for being here again. I really do appreciate it. It's really interesting sitting down and picking your brain about a couple of things. When I entered this conversation, I did not expect to be learning about tourism.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's and it's great to talk about now because it's not happening, so people can be better prepared when it happens again.
I'm glad that we talked about it for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't know if you've got any questions for me, anything you want to ask.
No, I mean, I'm interested in how you started your photography journey.
Time, a lot of free time. That's how that started. I had a lot of free time. And it really all started on my cell phone. It was after high school, and I was waiting to go to university.
Cool.
I don't know. I can't say where it came from. I think it definitely was inspired by God. I think that's really what I can say. It just started with my phone and went into. I learned how to handle a camera, and I didn't have one. I watched over 50 videos on.
Oh, really?
The concepts of photography,
different
kinds of cameras, but I didn't have a budget for a camera. I didn't plan to buy one. I didn't intend to buy one, but I just wanted to learn about it. And I think
that's awesome.
That passion just sort of
that's passion right there. For sure.
Yeah, I can't even explain why I did what I did, why I was watching the videos I was watching, but I was enjoying it so much. And then I ended up getting a camera as a gift, I think 4 years ago.
Nice.
It was as a joke. My aunt's like, what do you want for your birthday? And I'm like, camera. I didn't expect
and then she got
to buy a brand new camera, and she did.
Oh my god, that's really amazing.
Cool. And I think I never looked back after that. So I'm definitely passionate about it. And that's how that journey started. About 3 years.
Awesome. I can tell you're passionate.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I definitely look forward to seeing you grow.
Thank you.
Forward to see more videos come out.
Yeah.
More photos,
definitely.
More drone shots from way up.
Yeah.
And we will definitely stay in touch.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure.
You definitely have a fan in me and the quality of work that you produce and your blog. More about tourism. I'm signing up to that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.